Oh,
you got a little darker. Hi.
Yeah, but then brightened up. Hi. Hello. Tell me about working on your new movie. I want to hear all about it.
Well, first of all, hello everybody and welcome to Spare Parts.
No, fuck that. Who cares about Spare Parts?
Oh yeah, right. This is about us catching up. I
Exactly.
forgot. Right. It was really good. So I was in Yellowknife for like 4 days. Yeah, it was wild to be up there.
Yeah,
What
were your expectations
place.
met? Did you know what you were getting into before going to Yellowknife?
I didn't really know. I didn't know. So it's like a full miniature city, and
Like everything's small. The doorways are only
right. Everything's about 6 feet. That's it. No, it's just it's very cold, Ev. It's very, very cold. Yeah, and it was warm when I got there, so meaning it was like minus 26.
Snow everywhere?
Snow everywhere. Everything is frozen. There's massive birds everywhere. So like huge ravens walking around the streets.
Walking around?
Yeah, just looking for little
The
snacks.
ravens don't even fly. They just waltz in the downtown.
They're just like chilling, and they're huge. They're the size of like a dachshund. Dachshund?
For references, that's a dog, you guys.
Yeah.
Did you have the Letterkenny jacket that you always wore while we were shooting in the winter? Like, did you still have that jacket, the huge puffy one?
I do, but I gifted it to Connor because it's a men's large, and it's just crazy.
Yeah.
It's just crazy. I look ridiculous in it.
Well, it's designed so that you could be wearing a full outfit underneath it, no matter what the outfit is.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of wish I had that coat with me, but I did have my puffer and toque, but I definitely didn't have like the right stuff. So
No,
I had
negative 26. You need like under layers and like heated gloves and shit.
Yeah. And when I was shooting, I had all of that stuff, obviously, and we shot outside on the tundra on the frozen lake.
Oh,
so
no.
we're driving trucks out onto the middle of a frozen lake, which I guess, I mean, the director is from Yellowknife, so she really knows that
She was confident.
Totally fine, and it's what people do. So on my last night, I wanted to like do something in Yellowknife that felt, because you're working and it was snowing and it was overcast the whole time, so I didn't see the northern lights, which made me really sad.
Oh no, that was like your thing. That's what you wanted.
That's what I wanted.
How often do they happen? Did you ask?
Like all the time, but but when it's overcast, you can't really see them. So that was too bad. But I went to this again, the lake is frozen. So for certain months out of the year, there's like little businesses that pop up on these ships that are like in the dock of this lake. And then it freezes over and then they open up whatever. And
cute.
So I went to one that was like a sauna cold plunge situation.
Get the fuck out of here. That's the coolest thing.
Yeah. So there's this huge ship. It's called the Arctic Duchess. And then there's 3 saunas and then a plunge pool of like the coldest water imaginable. I had thought it was lake water, but I don't think that's, now that I'm thinking about it, I'm like, that would be really unsafe. It was just
it
like
can be though. Like if you're in Yellowknife, like, I don't know. Like, I don't know if like there's that much. It's kind of like in Quebec. Like I've been to like Scandinavian spas in Quebec where they use the water from the lake.
Yeah.
And it's so cold, it's like being stabbed. And it's because there's different oversight in different provinces.
Yeah.
There just is. Like in Ontario, you could never. But like in Quebec and maybe Yellowknife.
Yeah, things seem loose up there for sure. And anyways, and it was great. I went at like 9:30 at night, and
after shooting, you're all done.
I'm all done.
Relax.
Yeah, my flight wasn't until like noon the next day, so I could sleep in. It was really nice. I had a glass of red wine.
That when you have a glass of wine at a spa,
crazy.
It frucks you up. Like it is like having 5 glasses. You're like,
basically, I know. And then I'm driving like on ice in these cabs, and I'm
you're
just
not
like,
driving.
No. Sorry, the cab driver. But I'm just like, this is a crazy place.
Yeah.
And then as I was like sitting in the sauna, there was a window at the like end of each sauna where you could look out onto the lake. And there were 3 cars like so far away, so far out onto this frozen lake. And it looked like they were drag racing. And I just felt like I was in like the Wild West, but it's the North version.
The Wild North. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
It's a movie.
Yeah, it was really cool. It was very, very cool. The day of shooting was really great. The crew is so great. Like, it's just like a great group of people, which is always a stress when you go into a set.
Before you know who these people you're going to spend all your time with are and what they're like, what the vibe is.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm always stressed. I always have the worst tummy aches the day before and the morning of going to set for the first time. And then when you get to set, you're like, like, at least
you're like, oh no. But this was like, oh, thank God. And I don't think I've ever
had that like terrible experience. Yeah, I've just never had that.
I've never had like a terrible experience, but I've definitely walked onto sets where I was just like, oh, this is an absolute mess.
People aren't having as much fun as they could be. Yeah.
And when you come from a set like Letterkenny, which was so fun. And this
episode reminded me of that.
Oh, me too.
How fun
yes,
it is, yeah.
Me too. And I just was like, oh, have I been ruined for other sets forever because of how, like, also what was great about Letterkenny was how efficient it is. And that's not normal for a set. And it's like, you know, long days. That's part of the job. That can be actually really fun. And you're in that together. That doesn't necessarily make it a bad set. But Letterkenny was so streamlined and we were all in such rhythm. And it was like, we were just pumping out the work at an insane pace.
Yeah, absolutely. There are sets that are famously slow moving or repetitive. Like, even they say that New Girl is famously one of the most like everyday minimum 17 hours. Like, it was like that kind of set, and it was.
Isn't it multicam? No.
Yeah, well, it's I don't know what you'd even like what genre it falls into as far as like how they shot it, but like it shouldn't have been 17-hour days.
That's crazy.
But from what I can tell and from what I've heard on the internet, it's like they were the literal longest days of any set, just every time, always. Which is interesting. Like, I only did that maybe one time on American Gods, and it was like a 17-hour day.
Yeah.
And I did ask, I was like, is this normal? They're like, yeah. But that's a show with setups that have like action and, you know, there's lots of like special effects and stuff like that, which I can kind of understand. Like, I imagine... Did you have fight scenes in this?
No, not this.
Okay.
But it was like trudging in the snow and like ice. And I won't say too much, but because I just like don't know what I'm allowed to say.
Well, you're allowed to advertise it so that it's exciting to see it, but don't give away the horse. Yeah, you know.
I just don't want to like overstep. It's not my movie, you know? So anyways, but we're doing like ice fishing and,
cool.
And so we're like out there and I'm wearing 19 layers and a huge coat. And it's like, you know, it's kind of a post-apocalyptic world. So there's furs, like it's all it was so exhausting. And this is how I know I could never live in a cold climate again because the on and off of all these layers and you're taking your boots on, you're putting your boots back on.
Every time I walk the dog is like actually 30 minutes of taking off clothes and putting on clothes. It's ridiculous.
I cannot do it.
A lot of layers.
It's too many layers and there's too much salt. I don't like it.
That's true. It's bad for your hair too. You didn't do any of the ice fishing on Letterkenny, did you? You were never invited.
I was never invited.
What's going on there? Sexism.
So I was going to say some deep-seated misogyny.
You wouldn't have wanted to.
She just likes the tan. I don't know.
You wouldn't have wanted to.
No, I wouldn't have wanted to.
You wouldn't have liked that.
Too cold.
Because they were actually outside, weren't they? That wasn't a set, was it?
Yeah, that was like the Lehix season, like the winter season, right?
Did you say Lehix?
Yeah.
Lezik.
Okay.
Lezik.
Because I am not a Quebecer, I'm not going to, it's the same reason why I don't say Ibiza.
Ibiza. If you're not saying Ibiza, you're not an Ibizan.
Yeah, and I'm not going to pretend that I am because that feels off. No, but like, yeah, I didn't do the ice fishing. Winter's hard for me, but I felt really lucky to be there for that day. And it was such a great day. I had so much fun. And it was, again, affirming to be back on a set after spending so many years on Letterkenny and have a really great time in a different way. I was like, I'm very proud of you. This is there's lots of great things going on.
There's more out there. It's not over for you. It's not over for you, kid. You've got this. There's more to do.
But it's also just like, I don't know, because I have been on sets, like I said, that were tougher. I also think there's something really great about indie filmmaking because you don't have the luxury of like an 8 months shoot.
Can't waste time.
You can't waste time. So things do move. And I obviously prefer that. I like doing like a few takes and just being like a little bit more guerrilla style because it forces you to be on your game a bit more.
Yeah.
And I like that pressure, I guess.
That pressure is, I think, closely associated with Letterkenny style of shooting as well. That idea that you only get 2 takes. You can't fuck up. There's no room for error here. It's more like theater than it is like traditional film and television where you're like, just go again. It's fine.
And I wonder if there's like an ADHD part of my brain that like, it's the same reason why I'm a bit of a procrastinator. I'm actively working on it.
If it's not perfect, it's not worth it.
Well, but I like I don't like, but I do well under like the timeline gun, you know? So
do you do the Pomodoro? Do you do the 15 minutes on, 15 minutes off, like frantic?
I do that when I'm writing.
Yeah,
and I learned that, from Kayla actually, but she does like an hour on, 20 minutes off.
That's a lot. Hour on is a lot. Like,
hour on is a lot.
It's a lot of focus.
I'm like, I can focus for like 35, 40 minutes on
30
writing.
30 minutes is like a big chunk of focus for me.
And then I kind of do need to go outside and like have and make myself a little lemonade and bubbly water drink.
I just need to talk to somebody. I don't know that I need to like leave. I just need to like stop doing what I'm doing and have a conversation. I think I need to speak a lot. Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
You being sarcastic?
No, I'm not. I just like.
You need to speak a lot?
Because speaking, shocker. No, but I find that like drains me more. Like I almost like need to kind of touch grass, so to speak.
Interesting.
Yeah.
If I sat outside touching grass, I would go insane. I'd be like, what am I doing? I have to do something.
You are a city kid.
Ugh. Touching grass is gross. First of all, grass is gross.
Well, in Toronto it is.
Yeah, fair. There's so many. Ever since I got a dog, I am so aware of how fucking disgusting Toronto grass is. There are chicken bones everywhere.
Everywhere. Clem is constantly chewing on a chicken bone. And I'm like, who is just leaving chicken bones?
Who's eating chicken wings and just throwing them on the ground? Like, what are you doing?
Crazy.
Stop that. Please stop that. PSA, stop throwing your chicken bones on the ground. I am sick and tired of reaching down my dog's throat and pulling out chicken bones. It's so awful.
Yeah. I also, another PSA, I would really appreciate it if people wouldn't put out their old moldy plush chair that has been duct taped back together as if somebody's going to enjoy that for their home. Nobody wants it.
Put it out on garbage day.
Take it to the dump. Be respectful. It's just so lazy. There's like an apartment building close by and it's just constant slew of dining room chairs that are the ugliest things you've ever seen. I'm like, no one wants this. I'm assuming it's infested with bed bugs. Put it in the trash.
Well, most of the time it is. That's why it's on the curb, right? And then if it's not, it will be soon.
It will be soon. Have you ever had bed bugs?
No, of course not. If I had bed bugs, I would never stop talking about it.
Okay, that's what
I've never had bed bugs. I remember the season of Letterkenny, though, where there was a bed bug infestation at the one hotel.
But we weren't staying there at the time.
I wasn't there, but Clark was. And she got bit in the face. And she couldn't go to set the next day because her face blew up.
Oh my God. I forgot about this.
It was horrible. I felt so bad for her.
Jesus.
Yeah, I will never forget about that. I think about that all the time. And when we were on tour, and I was talking to Josh, because Josh has been on many tours. He was our tour manager. He, that's not for you. I'm just reminding you who Josh was. Because you're such a diva. You just don't remember people.
Yeah, unless they were on stage. I don't know them.
That was out there. Josh is our tour manager. He's done this a million times. He was like, here are some tips to look for bed bugs. So he would like tell me, to look under the corner, the edge corner of the mattress, like little things, and then immediately change rooms. And then when I told him I was having baths in each of the rooms, he got so upset at me.
He was like, they're not clean, my love. Yeah,
he was like,
clean.
if you don't have some sort of infection right now, like you will get one. So stop having baths in hotels. Like that was his advice. He's like, they do not clean them enough. Like there's no amount they can clean them that warrants a bath.
Right.
Which sucks because I love a bath.
Yeah, and you needed. I mean, we were stressed on that bus, were we not? You and I were the most stressed.
Absolutely.
Like going to sleep in the little coughing and being like, we're going over some mountainous terrain for 13
I started
hours.
Taking anti-anxiety medication for the first time in my life. I was like, I need a pill so that in case I know I'm going to die, I can take it and feel a little bit better about it. And on the trip from Denver, oh my God, there will never be another time in my life where I'm like, my life is out of my hands. Like I just felt myself slamming against the wall. And our bus driver, absolute professional. However, there's only so much you can do on icy roads in the middle of the night. With
a massive vehicle and you're on hour 9 of driving straight. Yeah. And like you're a human. So,
I feel like all of our consciousness we're together in one in that bus. Like, this is it. And then there's like, I don't know, K-Trev and Mark Forward who are completely asleep and could not care.
Yeah. Well, they've done this. They've been on the road. Like they've toured. Yeah. We had never been in a situation like that. And yeah, like you and I are obviously like on the more nervous side of things, germaphobes, etc. Huh? And it was tough. Like I had to just shut that curtain and just like take a deep breath. And
I'm not a religious man, but
I was wearing my Saint Christopher.
You should have given me. I should have got one for the bus. I would have felt a lot better.
That would have actually been a really good gift for me to like give everybody.
Oh, cute. Yeah. Too bad we're never going to see each other ever again.
Yeah, never will be on that bus.
Well. R.I.P.
Yeah, that was messed up. But I mean, I'm about to go back so we shoot the rest of the movie in Calgary. And so I'm staying in a hotel, which is great. That'll be great. And I'm going to want to have baths, but this is a good reminder.
Have them, just bleach the tub.
Yeah, I'm just going to have to get my own cleaning supplies and I'll just do like a real thorough.
He said the big thing is inside the jets.
Ew.
He was like, because it's hard if you get a tub that has like jets and stuff, it's like they don't clean inside there. So just spray in there, run it. Get in there. That's his big thing. He's like the jets in the,
That's a pro tip.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure he's seen some athlete's foot.
Oh. Sorry. Have you ever had athlete's foot?
Again, I have no idea what it is. It's red? Like your foot turns red?
No, it's not.
Oh. What is it?
Okay, so basically it's like your skin on your foot becomes white and thick to the point that you can peel it off.
What do you mean?
I don't know how else to
What do you mean? All over your heel?
Like I think like the bottoms and then like the sides of your toes. It's like a thick, like spongy skin that you can like literally tear off.
Oh. I assume you're not supposed to tear it off?
I don't know.
Oh my God.
But do you not follow that account
no,
on TikTok?
Follow the athlete's foot account. What the fuck? Do you? Why do you?
No, but I'm obsessed with like weird illnesses.
Oh, you watch like pimple popping videos. Yeah. I can't watch that stuff. I can't watch that.
So I can and I do and it haunts me, but I have to look. It's the same reason why I watch like true crime documentaries because I feel like I need to just know about it and then I'll be better equipped,
Do you ever pick? Are you a picker of like scabs and stuff?
Oh, not scabs. That's crazy.
But like loose hairs, things you love a loose hair. You're like, oh my God.
I love a loose hair.
Look at the giant cheek hair that comes from your head that embeds in your cheek and you're like, how did that get there? It's crazy.
Yeah.
That's always exciting.
One time when I was living in Japan, actually, I was walking with my friend Zhushka from Hungary. Miss you.
The story is already so unrelatable to so many people. I love it.
And we were heading to a shoot. And and I was like, I felt my neck and I was like, oh, what? No. She was behind me and she thought I had like a hair, just like a head hair on my neck. And she went to take it off and it was fully attached and it was literally clear white hair.
How does that happen?
And I was like 19 and we were dying. And then Kayla, who I seem to bring up every single episode.
I'm in love with her. That's
I'm obsessed. But she says she has like a white hair that grows out here that's like clear and she calls it
keeps coming back?
Mm-hmm. And she always has to pluck it and she calls it her ghost. Which I think is so funny.
It's nice to have relationships.
Hey, isn't
That's
it?
good. Yeah. That's nice.
How are you? Tell me about what's going on with you.
I'm chilling. I am on full dog dad duty because once again, Alana is like hurt her ankle. She's like she's like bird bones. She's been a vegan forever.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be like, hey, veganism gives you bird bones, but like She's strong as fuck, but her like knees and ankles, like there's something. Maybe that's just because it might be genetic. Her mom got her both hips replaced. She's only like 60, so maybe it is purely genetic. But I'm full on dog duty again. So morning, noon, night, like all 4 or 5 walks is me. But it's great because I've really formed a relationship with the neighborhood in a totally new way. I've met so many new people. I got someone's phone number. We met up on a dog date. Like I am like out there.
That is so foreign to me.
In the neighborhood, you don't do that? What? You would get somebody's number?
Have we met?
Well, no, doesn't Clem ever fall in love and you're like, oh, I'd love for you to have a boyfriend. And so you hook it up. You don't ever do that? I'm not like, hey, my dog's fucking other dog. Like we're not giving them wine. I'm just mean like you meet someone, you're like, our dogs are clicking. They should be able to hang out more.
I get the concept. And I have, like, Clem has some of my friends' dogs who she loves and she sees, but she's not like she's kind of aloof with other dogs. And so, which is funny. She's a little bit like, hi. And then she's like, okay, bye.
Done with it.
And then she like does her own thing. And so I don't, it's, and then she'll have a little play. I don't know. Maybe does that make me a bad?
I don't think so. I think I think a dog is a reflection of the owner, and you're just kind of the same way. Like you're like, hi, good, nice to meet you, goodbye,
goodbye forever.
I'm like, tell me all about your life.
Yeah.
And Dewey's the same way. He goes on the ground. He like nuzzles into a dog he's just met, and they're like cuddling on the ground. And I'm like, you guys
need to be together.
We should do this more often.
That's sweet.
Anyway, I've met a bunch of new people in the neighborhood and it's great. And I have them all in my phone as like Lola's mom, like in my phone.
That's so cute.
Yeah, it's been nice. It's been nice. I literally last episode you were like, we can't talk about our dogs.
I know, but it's gonna happen.
I know, all we've done.
We love them so much that it's like sickening.
Good dogs in this episode of Letterkenny, by the way.
Extremely good dogs.
Really good dogs.
Should we get into this episode?
Absolutely. This episode, which I believe, I don't know what it's Shark
called.
Tank.
It's called.
I have no idea what it's called.
Uncle Eddie.
Uncle Eddie's
Simply
Trust.
Uncle Eddie. No, just Uncle Eddie.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. Okay. So it's called Uncle Eddie, and it's actually just an episode of Shark Tank. But instead of like Mark Cuban and Kevin O'Reilly and whoever the fuck else is on Shark Tank, is Shark Tank a Canadian show? Because why is Kevin O'Reilly there?
I think it is. I met Kevin O'Reilly at a park. I think it was him. Yeah. Well, it was one of the
was
sharks.
It in Tokyo?
It was one. No, it was in LA at a big.
I feel like you would have met Mark
party.
Cuban. I feel like you and Mark Cuban would meet.
No, it was.
You'd know
that. It was. No, it wasn't Mark Cuban. It was who you just said.
What were you doing at a mansion party in LA?
Honestly, it was a mistake. I was like one of those things that you go to with friends and you're like, and then you just realize, oh, it's a bunch of like old rich guys and then a bunch of 20-something girls and the vibes are weird.
Like I shouldn't be here. Like this is scary kind of.
It's just not fun. It wasn't scary. It's just like the vibe is not fun. The vibe is like complete bullshit.
Yeah.
Everyone's just kind of like
looking around trying to be like, who can I get a car from? And
then I came with kind of my like wild friends. And
always. And that's how you end up at a place like that. Is the wild friend. No,
but like this was like a very like mini dress and like stilettos. And my friends were wearing like overalls and like smoking darts.
Bit out of place.
And being a bit like,
we're just here for the free booze.
Yeah, it was a little bit like rock and roll. And so we kind of like stood out in a weird way. And then I think they ended up going around asking for different people for drugs. And then it seemed pretty apparent that we should leave.
Yeah, you're like, now's the time.
Yeah, they were.
Did you have a great view though of the whole city?
It was a beautiful view of the city.
Always get one of those in a house like that. You're always like, wow, someone lives like this.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. And it was
sometimes
like this
I think my life would be okay if I lived in a place like that.
I know what you're saying.
Yeah, but it's not true.
Well, have you ever heard of the parties in LA? Never been to one. This is like all I've heard about. They're like sex parties and they happen in like these mansions. And for girls
people having sex
to go.
Is that it?
Yeah, it's like it's like a free for all. But here's the kicker. For girls to go, it's free. Mm-hmm. For guys to go and be a part of this like club or community, it's like $100,000. Entry.
And do the girls get like what's the benefit? Who makes that money?
I think, well, I don't think the girls get the money. I think the idea is that it's like a certain caliber of man. So it's not just like a bunch of like
men who are bad at fucking, but have a lot of money. What a caliber.
I'm not a part of this. This is just what I've heard.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, it felt like it wasn't that, but it felt like it would have happened at this type of a house. Sure. It was like LED lit up pool. It was like kind of cheesy.
The vibe was there where you're like, did you guys rent this place? Like, it's too
everything is concrete and white. Yeah. Anyways, I don't know how we got here, but
I don't know, but I don't want to leave. I feel like this is the most. I love hearing about what people's lives are like in LA. Shark Tank.
So I met him there, and he asked me, no, he was totally. It was not like a flirt situation at all. He just was like. He was kind of like,
do you have a business idea?
No, literally. No, he was like, what do you do? And because we're both kind of like standing there, just like having our drinks awkwardly. He's like, so what do you do? And I was like, I'm an actor. And he's like, his first question was how much money I make.
Amazing. That's such a crazy question.
He went right to it.
Ever asked me that as the first question. It does come up at some point, but.
Yeah. No, this was like question 2. It was like, how are you? How much money do you make as an actor? What do you like? He's like, what are your like? Do you have like a royalty deal?
Yeah,
like all of those things. He just was straight to it. I've only had, and it's always men, ask that question. And it's always from men who are like extremely wealthy.
That's fair. I mean, people who have a lot of money go one of two ways. Either they're really into money and that's all they want to talk about, or they never want to talk about money, period, ever, because they never want you to know how much money they have. Like they just don't want to go into it because they're like, you won't understand this.
Right. I think it's like entrepreneurial people that are maybe a bit more self-made.
The generational wealth people don't talk about money.
No, because it's probably doesn't feel earned. So it's like a bit icky.
Interesting.
Whereas like for people that have like earned it, they're kind of the taboo around money is different for them. And they want to just know maybe how to like acquire more or like leverage it.
Right. They want information. People who are entrepreneurs always want more info. Generational wealth people also have been like taught not to talk about money. Like that's a big part of like, I remember growing up in like a community where there's like a lot of generational wealth and no one talked about money, but everyone like people were part of like clubs, you know, there was this one horrible club in my town where everyone to this day has to wear white.
Oh yeah.
That's wild.
Oh yeah.
What an odd restriction.
That's all the country clubs in Vancouver.
Yeah. Just feels weird. I just walk by and I see them all dressed in white playing tennis and I'm like, something's weird here.
Yeah, there's something a bit off. That's fair. Back to Shark Tank in this episode, Uncle Eddie. So, okay, the way the episode starts is Katy receives a phone call that her dear uncle has passed away. Well, actually, it starts at the produce stand where they're just, again, dipping into like the
getting wasted during the day. Let's go, baby. Yeah. Beer's out of the question. They've run out in there.
And this is where To Be Fair, which is arguably like people actually get mad at us on this podcast when we say To Be Fair, passing that we don't speak to it.
Okay, so Kiso draws a lot of his inspiration from real life. And it's usually, you know, somebody says something on set and it makes him think of a thing and he writes the thing and he loves it. Like he just does that. He's like, you know, that's how Letterkenny started from Listowel, Ontario, the problems that they had there. I have been saying To Be Fair my whole life. No one has ever said anything to me about it. Okay. In my entire fucking life, I have been saying, well, to be fair, like I'm 35. Before Letterkenny, this was not a problem. Now that this show exists, I get
a problem.
My fucking brothers. I hate using the word chirp me for it. We were at the bar the other day and I was like, well, to be fair. And then they went, to be fair, it was like the most, and I just like, was like, fuck you too.
Yeah. Like, let me say I'm not quoting Letterkenny right now.
Exactly. Kiso, if this had anything to do with me specifically, first of all, I'm calling you out. I'd like to have a fight. I'd like to have a physical fight, you and me.
Physical fight, finally.
Physical fight. Finally, everyone's looking for it. Everyone wants to see it happen.
Yeah.
I started sweating as soon as I said physical fight with Kiso, but that's okay. I'll stand behind it.
You're scared, but you're ready for it.
I'm scared, but it's what I have to do. Yeah. There's like a Letterkenny episode. It's my duty.
Well, you guys need to have a fight off.
To get the key, you have to have a fight off. I when I listened to the last episode and heard you say fight off, I could not stop laughing. I thought it was the funniest thing in the world. I actually think fight off might be good merch. Like, it's just so weird and it's so...
Let's have a fight off.
Let's have a fight off. Grr. We're so tough. You and I are tough. Anyway, I just wanted to get that out there because like that's one of those things that's really not, I don't want to say ruined my life, but I say it all the time and it's a constant plague.
Well, I'm self-conscious about it for sure. Yeah. Like saying to be fair now feels like I'm kind of like if I'm in a group of people and I say it, I'm worried that people thought that I said it to get attention.
Oh my God.
Or something. So people are like, oh, she's like quoting the show she's on just to get like a little bit of like encouragement. Ew. Like I get like in my head about it. So for everyone who has sent us little messages or comments, when we say to be fair, it is not correlated with Letterkenny, and I know that's hard to understand.
Missing a setup. We're not missing.
We refuse to be a part of the setup. We will not do that. That bit is off the table. It just is. Okay.
So mad. It hits so close to home.
So
let's recenter. 4 deep breaths.
Okay. Can we just do 3?
Actually, 1 felt amazing.
Yeah, that's all I need. Okay.
That's how ADHD we are.
I'm like too long. They're drunk off of liqueurs. Yeah. We do a weird fourth wall break for some reason where we say the name of the liqueur right down the lens.
How did that go for you on site? Do you remember that on the day?
I do. And I feel like I remember this whole episode so clearly.
It's a weird episode.
Oh, yeah. I mean, aren't they all?
They're all weird, but this one's like fourth wall, directing, like the camera, Camila in it is so fucking funny. It's such a good bit. I love that she gets to come back as like a different character who's like not sexualized in this one. I feel like this character is like just funny presenter mode.
Yeah, she's like, who's the girl on...
It's like Vanna White. Like when she references it later, he's like, we're gonna be my Vanna. And I burst out laughing at that too.
Yeah, it's very, very good.
Oh, she's killing it in this episode. This one's like...
Yeah, that's a great bit. So essentially, Uncle Eddie has died after the drunk day liqueur endeavors that they have. I don't know.
Just getting wasted with your brother and his pals in the middle of the day. What's wrong with that?
Typical. They find out that he's died and they've left $5,000, and now they post to Facebook to see like what the community could do with it. And everybody comes with their little pitch, and it's like Wayne and Katy are the sharks.
Yeah.
Who's the first ones? The Skids, right? It's you guys.
The Skids are the first ones, yeah. And it's a pitch for intervention, which I used to watch all the time on A&E.
Me too. And now looking back, I'm just like, we really didn't understand addiction and mental health.
No.
I mean, I feel like we barely do now. Like there's mistakes everywhere.
But that show was rough. Like that was just rough. It was so exploitative.
It was crazy.
It was crazy. But to be fair, I was 10 years old. Oh, she just did it again. I was 10 years old though. Yeah. To be fair. And that episode, that I do remember walking up that day, and I remember thinking, we're in the direct sun, my shoulders aren't covered enough. And then I looked over at you and I was like, you're there all day. Did you get a sunburn that day?
I don't believe so because I take sunscreen very seriously.
Man, but that, I mean, you were in the direct. You were cooking.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it was a pretty hot day. Although Sudbury, even in the summer, it's like hot in the sun, but as soon as there's a wind or like the slight temperature change, I'm freezing.
Somebody get me my jacket.
Can we talk about the fact that I was basically in a bathrobe the entire 8 years?
I actually don't remember any of the outfits you're wearing in the show because I never saw you wearing them. Every single time you see Michelle on the show, the second it cuts, there is a red bathrobe with gold trim on it around her and a hood. And it's the same bathrobe for all 8 years. And that is that's Michelle's outfit. Katie's outfits are always whatever they are, but Michelle on Letterkenny, that's what she wore. And there's tons of, if you notice behind the scenes of her, she's always wearing that.
Which kind of sucks.
Oh, you wish you were wearing something else, or you wish you weren't wearing that? Okay.
Yeah. I'm like,
They picked a different robe
or just like nobody else is in a robe. I guess like I mean, a lot of the girls were, I guess, but depending on the outfits, I'm I'm not walking around in those little shorts. This is going to be a shocker, but it's not my own personal way of dressing. And also more so than that, I was freezing cold all the time.
I have this one, like the most distinct memory of you being cold is you and Clark suntanning.
Oh, yes.
On one particular season, many seasons from now, you two are lying on like those lounge chairs, and you're supposed to be the most relaxed. Like the scene is like they're so chill they can barely look over at the skids. Like that's what it says. Exactly. You're sitting there going, you look like you're being electrocuted. You're so cold. And then in between takes, like the clothing, like the clothing people would come sprinting over and throw jackets on top of your body. Like they wouldn't even take time to like put your arms on. They would just like throw blankets and jackets on you.
And they'd yell action, then you have to go. And that's kind of what acting is. It's acting warm when you're cold, and it's acting cold when you're too hot. That's like a big part of our job.
That's 90% of the job.
Really
and acting out of breath when you're not, and acting not out of breath when you are. That is all it is. God. Yeah.
Big parts. So skids come, they have their idea for an intervention, and it's really just an opportunity for Roald and Devin to give Stuart an intervention.
Yeah.
Which I'm like, why just him? Aren't you guys
we all definitely need an intervention. But his intervention, I think from Devin is more like you've gone too much of a disaster. You're too wild. Like there was that time you didn't know if it was the weekend.
Oh, right.
Good bit. Great callback. Never happened. I love that. And then I guess my intervention or Roald's intervention is that we touched penises. And I'm upset that made you feel that somehow made your life worse later on. Yeah. Pretty interesting.
That is an interesting. That feels like where is that coming from?
What's that about? Yeah, I do. That's another thing that I get a lot of mentions about though. People are like, oh, you touching tubes? I'm like, that happened, I think one time in the show, but it's really like people really remember that.
Well,
we touched.
Is that not like kind of a genuine part of Boyhood?
Being a boy? I never.
Sorry to put you on this. I'm not asking you directly. I
personally never did that. But I do remember being at sleepovers and someone being like, hey, I'm going to tell you a story about the best thing that could ever happen to you. And it'd be like them being like, your crush walks in and she takes her top off. Like I do remember those kinds of like nights, like sleepover nights where we're like telling each other like stories or something, but we never we never like touched dicks and stuff. But yeah, we definitely had in my personal group, we definitely had some like, it was actually kind of funny now thinking about it. I'm like, why? Like, I guess we didn't have early access to porn in that way. So it's just
so like, you guys just kind of facilitated that for each other.
We're like, okay, so then she walks in, she kisses you, like,
oh my god,
out of nowhere.
That's kind of cute.
It is kind of cute.
That's kind of cute.
I wonder if people still do that, or if they're just like, hey, look at this.
Probably that, yeah.
Right. I'm
the
sure
men out there. Hey, comment below if that
have you touched tubes with your friends when you were kids? Also. Have you thought about that since?
Also, are you okay?
Are you okay?
Yeah.
It's a good point though. It's a really interesting. I mean, I loved sleepovers. I always thought they were so fun.
Of course, there's nothing better than a sleepover.
I miss sleepovers. I mean, it's like I guess I still get to have a sleepover with my wife every night, but it's not the same.
It's not the same. No. My best friend Katy, she has 2 little boys, and her eldest is 6, and I love him. And he's basically like a miniature Katy because I've known Katy since she was 6, and so it's just like
you're like, you're back.
You're back. No, she's back. It's so wild, and he's never had a sleepover anywhere because he's only 6. Yeah. But we have like a very nice relationship, he and I. And the last time I was there, I said, and you know, when you're ready. He was coloring. I was like, and when you're ready, you know, you can come to Victoria and we can have a sleepover and watch a movie. And he just looked and he went, can we go right now?
Oh, it's so cute. But you know, when he gets out there, he's going to be so scared. He's going to wake up in the middle of the night. He's going to be like, where's my mom?
Exactly. So we're not there yet, but he was pumped. He's like, I'll pack my things. We'll go right now. Let's go.
That's part of that's part of the growth of being a child like that age. Like you have to be a little scared being away from home and having a little fun like that. Like it's like did you go to camp growing up? That's probably camp.
Yeah.
But your first year wasn't easy?
No, but 6 is too young. I think I was like probably 8.
They're sending kids to camp really young these days though. Like especially if you're like a rich family, you send your kid to camp like as soon as you can, which is like 5. Like 4 or 5. Yeah,
that's
for real.
A baby.
I know. But it's like thank God. Like, oh, I don't have to babysit you for the go away.
I'm sure parents need a break.
Exactly. Back to the episode.
Back to the episode.
And then we get into the crux of it all, which is whether you guys are in and out for the $5,000 investment, and you are. This
is the most Canadian. I remember this was like really leaning into the oot of it all.
He didn't really have to do it as much as you, though, which is interesting. Like you were the oot.
I'm oot.
Oot.
Yeah. Well, he's just so Canadian in all of his that I feel like it didn't.
He's already there.
Yeah, he's already kind of there. Yeah.
So you're oot, and then we get our next.
So we're out, and then we kind of restart the process, and so it goes now to hockey. They've obviously got some kind of like homoerotic pitch, which kind of makes sense because Jared always likes to kind of talk about the hockey community being like a little bit.
Oh yeah, they're all wrestling with their shirts off a lot.
They're all touching tubes.
They sure are touching tubes. Yeah.
They're touching tubes.
Adultly. I remember seeing that board with all the like.
Oh yeah, the art department made. Like
gay porn, right?
Yeah.
Like I don't know what's going on there. Yeah, I remember they made that. That was very funny. And then we took that board for the Skids basement at some point. So we took all the photos from that same board.
Oh, that's
and
smart.
It ends up in the Skids basement later. Yeah.
I love that.
It's a good scene, though. It was a good scene. It was very fun. The hockey boys get out there and they pitch what I assume it's Big Brother or something. I don't really...
Or maybe? Like a Big Brother / like kind of Fight Club.
Yeah, Big Brother Fight Club. These are all real things, except this one feels almost like something maybe I just hadn't heard of.
Yeah. It felt also because I noticed that Wayne mentions Brad Pitt a couple different times. And I feel like this is because Jared's like a huge fan of Fight Club.
Yeah.
And then that weird full circle moment when we were on tour, we like hung out with Edward Norton and Brad Pitt. And it was
happens like later, right? Like Brad Pitt like does that red carpet thing where he mentions Letterkenny years later. Like this is way after this. I wonder if Brad Pitt was watching the show and was like, oh, they mentioned me. Like, or if somebody told him, like it's such an interesting.
I'm sure so many things mention Brad Pitt that
exactly. He doesn't even think about it.
But I think this is very much like Jared's such a huge fan of Edward Norton and Brad Pitt and Fight Club. And I feel like this is an homage.
This is something that.
Yeah. Like he definitely like so much of what Jared likes makes it into the show. Obviously. That's what writers do. But like just knowing Jared and then rewatching this all, it's like really funny on a personal level to like see all these little Easter eggs.
It's true.
I don't know. It's
and
cool.
Years later, like it's so odd to, like you said, full circle revisit it and be like, whoa, it was this early? They say drill bit, Brad Pitt bit later? Like, whoa.
Yeah. And then we got to like chill with them. It's so strange.
So strange. So odd.
Oh, life. Oh, Hollywood. What did you say?
Hollywood.
Hollywood. So they're obviously out with that. And then next up we have Mrs. McMurray.
Oh my God,
Mr.
the
McMurray.
intro when McMurray's walking up and he goes, Bonnie! And she goes, what?
Yeah.
Did you feed the dog? She goes, yeah. And he goes, okay. That is the funniest moment in the episode for me. That fucking delivery killed. I was giggling. I had to pause.
It's always weird to me that they're related. It doesn't compute. Like I understand the name, but I'm
sister.
Like, yeah, they're brother sister,
father daughter, which some people think a lot, but they're not. They're brother sister.
Yeah, they're brother sister. Yeah. It's weird that they're related. They have nothing. Like no essence is similar at all. It's really.
I also love the idea of thinking about Mrs. McMurray as her stepsister.
Yeah.
That's her stepsister.
And Bonnie having to just like live in a home with those two.
These fucking idiots just doing karaoke and hot tubbing all night.
Yeah.
Actually sounds like a party, but.
And we got Jim Dickens there as well.
Yes, doing a constant stream of, I assume they had him not doing the auctioneering and miming it on the day because it sounds mixed way down. So I assume he was pretending to do it,
probably.
Right? Like, do you remember him? Because how else could you get all their dialogue out?
It kind of rings a bell. I also know that the McMurrays, it was like they had a loose idea of what they had to touch on, but it was completely improvised. And
I could tell.
Yeah. And it was really funny. And I think Jared and I were giggling a lot because they were just...
tits in your butts, put some tits in your fucking not for me. But anyway, like that's almost the beginning of the not for me, not my kind when he starts pretending to put a drill bit in his butt. And then he comes back way later. It's like, it is crazy.
It is quite crazy.
Specifically to them. They are, it's like uncaging two wild animals.
Yeah.
And then having to wrangle them back into their cages at some point.
Yeah, so I don't even know what. They want. It's like going through people's old storage closet.
Storage Wars,
which is one of Jared's like favorite shows. That and Antique Roadshow.
Oh, I actually have the Antique Roadshow channel on.
Pickers,
all the time
Canadian
at home.
Pickers.
Canadian Pickers. Okay, I love Antique Roadshow personally.
Okay, yeah, I think he does too. Because I remember when he found out that I grew up in Ladysmith. He was like, great antique store there.
Really good antiques out in Ladysmith.
Okay. I actually feel like we might have messed up the order, but who cares? But Lisa, Gail comes in. God. I think maybe after them. And this was like, I remember this on the day and like reading the script because this was like the Bachelor and Bachelorette era. Like I know it's still on, but this was like when it was really a big deal for people. And
they're part of bachelor pools. Like a lot of people on set were like part of Bachelor Pools. Kisa was part of the Bachelor Pool. Like I think it's still like you just betting on who's going to win and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I always found that show to be like completely disturbing. And so
it was nice to see that.
It was like,
here,
and just, it's such a roast of that format. And
I never knew that they
true.
Fuck. Like everyone, they all have sex at the last
they don't
stage.
all have sex, but maybe. I mean, I'm sure it's happened, but like the final four, and it's so creepy. It's like, okay, I'm going to have 4 back-to-back dates. Maybe they spread them out, but they don't have that much time. So like, I'm assuming it's like within a 5 or like a week period.
Yeah. You're traveling a lot and you go meet their parents.
Exactly. Meet their parents. And then you go see if you like the sex with their daughter. And then after you've had sex with all of them, you pick which one was the best.
At sex. It's pretty amazing the flip when Katie is then like, well, I mean, could you do the same thing for a woman with 20 dudes? And she's like, I'm in. It's very good.
And Wayne's like, no. And he went, no. Ew. He went, ew.
Ew.
Ew. But yeah, I love that roast. It was perfect. And then, of course, we say, I'm out. And then Gail barely has a reaction and just goes...
non-reaction.
Her just going, K.
Also, extremely funny moment.
She's great. She never misses.
She never misses.
And then we finally get to the Hicks, and they are... Duck Dynasty?
Pitching Duck Dynasty, yeah. But they're not. They're pitching the careers of Duck Dynasty. They're like, let's do the whole thing.
Yeah, they're like, we have to do the whole trajectory for some reason, including their like batshit crazy politics.
Yeah, I didn't even know that they got to that place. I never knew what happened to Duck Dynasty. I just had heard about them a lot for a bit and then stopped hearing about them.
Yeah.
I guess that's what it was. Because they're hate gay people.
Yeah,
okay.
Crazy.
That's a bummer.
Yeah.
Because it does sound fun to just like blow duck calls and blow shit up and shoot guns in the woods. Like that sounds like a fun time. I don't know.
Yeah.
I get it. I understand. Crushing beers with your brothers with big beards. I could watch that. Too bad it comes with all that other stuff.
I know.
Gosh.
Why does it have to come with all that other stuff?
I don't want to get too much into it just because I don't want to reveal too much.
I want you to.
Recently, I have gone down a bit of a rabbit hole when it comes to firearms, just out of interest and etc. I've always had, I've always grown up being interested in them. And
we're in a trade war. We might have to strap up.
Sure. I also got my firearms license a couple years back because of a lot of accidents happening on set. And so I was very curious as to how to safely handle them. And then that led to me being like, well, what are they made of? What's ammo made of? Like learning a lot about this stuff. So much ammo is made of lead, like actual just lead. And for years and years and years, they've tried to decrease certain types of ammo and change them to polymer tips. Various things have changed. Like you're not allowed to hunt with specific types of lead if it's a shotgun, if you're going to be near a river in case it fouls up the river, etc.
Okay.
In some places, people are just ripping lead every day, nonstop, shooting, handling it, powder getting in their face, just constant lead exposure in a way that's like, if you're shooting guns all the time with poor protection and poor air quality, like if you're indoors especially, you are inhaling just crazy amounts of lead. It's just, so there is a weird correlation that in my mind where I'm like, people who love to shoot a lot of guns irresponsibly might have
lead poisoning.
A bit of lead poisoning. Yeah. There might be something there to it.
And doesn't lead poisoning, it's like, it just makes you
paranoid. It makes you paranoid. So the thing is with lead poisoning, it makes you paranoid. So you get more guns and shoot more guns. It's a very cyclical thing. It's kind of lead is a beautiful thing in its own way. It makes you need more lead.
Interesting. Hey, that's an interesting theory. That tracks though.
So anyway, I'm really into copper. All that to say.
Copper bullets?
Oh yeah. Copper plated, not just copper plated, because copper plated bullets have lead in them. Full copper bullets.
Are they much more expensive?
I'm really into them.
Yeah.
I take this back. They're not more expensive. It depends where you go. Sometimes, like some of them are not as expensive because people don't want to shoot it. But it's harder to find them. It's harder to produce, more expensive than lead. Lead is cheap. Lead is extremely cheap.
Have you shot guns?
Yes.
I've never.
Yeah.
I would like to though, because I've in a safe environment all the time.
It's good to know how to handle a firearm if you're an actor. I'm telling you, it's an important thing.
I know. And there was, final season, really jumping ahead, but when I was when we did the kind of music video, which ended up like for Sundarts and then it ended up being the promo, whatever, I had like a gun scene. And I just remember I could not have been more awkward holding these guns. I was just like, this feels so foreign because it is.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it did feel yucky. I'm not a gun fan. Like we don't need them. But I think like if they are in our lives for work or whatever, it's maybe not the worst thing to just kind of know.
You should know, I think that's the thing is you should always know how to safely handle something, especially if you don't need it, especially if you don't like it, because then it's like, you're not afraid of it. Like you have to there's a certain like education around things where I'm like, okay, if I know how to so I know how to ride a motorcycle. I will never ride a motorcycle. I got my license though, because I was like,
you got your license?
Yeah, I get my license for everything. I have a boating license, I have a gun license, I have a motorcycle license. Anything you can get a license in, I will do it because I'm just interested in learning things. And I think, again, knowing stuff makes me less afraid. So having knowledge is important. And I'm afraid of guns, or I have been historically in my life. So I was like, I got to learn everything about this.
Right.
And so now I don't even refer to them as guns anymore. I call them firearms. I have a very specific... That was a perfectly covered sneeze. Yo, what a professional podcaster. Also, maybe this is going to be our first full video podcast. So that was a beautiful moment.
Thank you. Hey, we're humans at the end of the day, not just podcasters.
Humans, not podcasters.
Another merch idea.
We have to start writing these down, or at least just send us your merch ideas.
Oh yeah, what do you guys want, or do you not want to contribute to landfills, which is fair enough.
Landfills. Maybe we could print them on vintage tees. That's a cool idea.
That would be cool. Yeah, something that's like you guys would actually enjoy that is as sustainable as we can make it.
Vintage hats, uniquely sourced vintage hats we print on.
Yeah, and we don't have to be like, it could be like subtle, so it could be something you'd actually wear and not get like super sick of.
It could just say spares on something. We just do a stamp.
Spares? When have we ever said spares?
Because they're spares. Everyone out there is a spare.
They're tartlets or tarts.
Okay. Do we do a little tart stamp? A little tart embroidery?
Maybe.
A patch?
I would love for you guys to comment what you like.
She doesn't like any of my ideas, so I guess don't say any of those ones, guys. Come up with your own ideas.
I do. I like them a lot. I just don't know. I just don't know. I'm just, I'm thinking about the planet. Somebody has to.
Oh, for God. It's true. That's true. Somebody has. It's true. Somebody has to. And it's Michelle Milet, and she's going to
be me.
She's going to solve it.
Yeah.
One of my favorite lines from New Girl is literally there at the bar, and Megan Fox is hitting on this dude to prove that she can just talk to a guy and get him to be a model. Mm-hmm. And he's like, I'm sorry, you're interrupting my conversation. We're trying to figure out how to save the bees. And she's just says to herself well, if two guys in a bar can't figure out, then I don't know who will. And it's the most I think Megan Fox is very underrated and very funny.
Me too.
I'm just going to go ahead and say
amazing.
She's amazing. She's so funny.
She's so funny, and she's very she's very smart. And
I agree.
All of her interviews, I'm like, I like this girl. Whether you like her or not, it doesn't matter. But
you will respect her.
She knows where she stands on things.
Yeah.
And she's not afraid to speak to it, and I like her a lot.
Yeah,
I've always loved her.
I don't know what that had to do with
being
anything.
that hot would be such a hindrance, especially in the era that she grew up
Michelle.
in. What? She grew up in like...
No, you can't say that.
Yes, I can.
No,
Megan Fox. Megan.
You and Megan occupy the same... You're a hot person. You don't know you're a hot person? Are we going to get into this?
We're certainly not, because that's so cringe, but... Megan Fox that's a whole other, she's in like a different stratosphere. And she was a huge star in the 2000s when the way we treated women, especially hot women in media, was so barbaric and insane. And she got absolutely crucified.
I think if you did a movie like Megan Fox, I guess maybe it's different now. No, but people still treat people like shit on the internet and stuff. But like if you did a movie that was like as popular as like a Transformers, I think you would also get a similar kind of attention. People would be like paying a lot of attention to the way you change and your hair color and what you're doing with your face and Like it would be like, constant. Because that's what the media does. They're obsessed with women's bodies and faces.
It's so weird.
They're going to talk about everything.
Okay, Megan Fox, we love you. We'd love to have you on the
Hey, come on the podcast. Oh my God, Megan Fox, if you watch Letterkenny, please come on the podcast. Know. Hey, any celebrities out there who watch Letterkenny who want to come on the podcast,
who are listening to Spare Parts now,
send Michelle a DM about it, because I won't see the DM.
If you live in Hollywood, please.
Michael
we
Cera,
want to talk to you.
Do you like Spare Parts?
Michael Cera. What a guy. All right. How does this episode end, Evan? So basically the guys come on, they don't know what they're talking about. And then we kind of realize that nobody in town has any good ideas, which we should have known from jump. And we realize that the $5,000 should really just be spent on getting drunk again, because that serves everybody. Oh, we missed Glenn in the singing.
Oh, how could we miss Glenn? Oh my God, this sequence.
I remember this so well because he had all those like those little boys. Those poor boys. And then
he's screaming at them.
And then I just remember like always when like Jacob's bouncing back between like director and Glenn, and his hair and the whole thing is so obnoxious for him. And he's like so stressed. He's like, he's learning his lines and then just like nailing it right away. But he had to learn all of these Italian. He had some fuck off lines, and I just remember him being like, God damn it, why did I write this for myself?
Who wrote this shit?
But obviously so funny. What's there to say? It's a great moment.
Not much other than he wanted to take the boys to Hollywood and he didn't get a chance. Honestly, it's just so nice seeing Glenn a lot. I know we're going to lose him more and more as the seasons go.
I know.
And I'm already like mourning that.
Yeah, he's so good. He reminds me sometimes of Kermit the Frog.
Yeah. He's a very like frantic, and his arms are going.
And like his body, muppety. Like when he like kind of goes like this.
When he does the dancing back and forth.
Yeah, like he's so Kermit to me.
He is Kermit the Frog.
Yeah.
He's
if
like
that if that resonates, let us know in the comments. Sound off in the comments. So anyways, they don't give anyone the money because no one deserves it. And they just have a party, and Katy makes like a really weird, unnecessary speech at the end for some reason. And then they all just get drunk. And it's just kind of like this funny moment in time, like button episode that doesn't really connect to anything.
I love these bottle episodes. I think they're important.
Me saying button. I don't know about film or TV. Sorry.
That wasn't supposed to be like, I want you to know that wasn't about
shaming me, publicly shaming me.
So anyway, the button episode that we did, really good. I think it's nice to see these round episodes where it's just one off, because then you can show this to anyone. If you introduce Letterkenny to someone, show them a weird fucking episode like this. I think it's a great intro, because it's just like, how strange is this show?
Yeah. And they're going to say, what's happening? And then you're going to go, what is this? I don't know. And then y'all are going to have a laugh and maybe drink some butter, what is it? Butter
ripple schnapps. Butter ripple schnapps, which he just down the hatch. I'm getting, as you know, really into cocktails right now. Another thing that I'm obsessed with at the moment. I just get obsessed. Not a big deal. When he talked about making a blue bijou, I'm like, I just literally just made a bijou. I had never heard of a blue bijou. Who's doing this research? What freaks out there and the Letterkenny writing staff are out there trying to come up with these drinks? I'm just, I think I'm going to make both of those drinks to try them.
I think you should. And I think that you should film it. And I think you should post it.
Oh my God, content. Spare Hearts content.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll do it.
Yeah. Spare Parts content.
What did I say?
Spare Hearts. Because you're excited because we're about to now enter Spare Hearts.
We can do better. I'm gonna go Spare Hearts.
Yeah, okay. Let's go.
1, 2, 3. Spare Hearts.
Spare Hearts. Let's get into it.
Whoa.
Okay, this is another DM.
Nice. I like your DMs because they're weirder. It's like...
It feels a little bit more like they're willing to open up differently.
Oh, really? Oh, I feel like a DM is I guess I could see that. It's more intimate.
Yeah, and it's just there's less formal. Like email is work.
Signed off by,
Yeah, it's like, best.
Sent from
whoever.
Apple Watch.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, Evan and Michelle. Proud tartlet, but will happily accept tart too. Here's my tea.
Hello.
I'm a 22-year-old bi girl who has only ever dated men. I'm attracted to women and have hooked up with them, but I don't know how to approach them to actually start a relationship. I'm used to being with and dealing with guys and completely fall apart when I'm around a girl I like. I also feel like a fake queer person because sometimes because I have never really been with a girl and it's important to me to pursue this before it's too late. Thanks, queens. Call me Chelsea.
Okay, so Chelsea, it sounds like you are aware that like you have been with mostly men, and so you're afraid of like getting into another relationship with a man that just like lasts, and you won't get to experience this part of your life because maybe you'll get into a relationship with a woman that lasts, right? You don't know. So I guess the question is like, how do you be less awkward around women and you can't even answer this question, Michelle, because you don't know what it's like to date women. Women are scary. Yeah. They're intimidating sometimes. I get it. When you get the butterflies around a woman, do you get that around men? Do you get butterflies? Yeah.
Yeah, when you like somebody. I mean, it's always scary, regardless of who this person is. But I understand what she's saying about like there's a different way to interact with a man versus a woman.
Absolutely.
Like there are, and maybe there shouldn't be, but I understand that we've been like socialized to kind of behave in different ways romantically to like get a suitor or whatever.
Well, there are expectations out there that are different. So then as a result, the conversations and the what did you go suiting? What would be the active verb there? The pursuing of?
Pursuing of.
The pursuing of.
The dance is different.
The dance.
Yeah. And I do think like when you are interested in a guy, you should never play games, but I understand there's kind of things you do to sort of show interest or like
one of these.
Yeah, you do the hair show or the whatever.
The big eyes.
The big eyes and da-da-da. But I think I recently actually had a friend of mine ask me about another girlfriend of mine being like, is she like interested in women as well, like whatever. And then when I talked to the other friend, I was like, are you? And she was like, yeah, like I'm open to that. And we just kind of had this conversation and
matchmaker. Hello.
And so my friend who has had, who is like bisexual, I guess as well. She like has run into this when she is, dealing with women who are interested in her romantically, where she's like, I feel like women aren't forward enough, and I'm still somebody who likes to be pursued regardless of gender.
So did you let the other one know that?
Not
Were you
yet.
like, oh, this is interesting. I'm really curious to see how this goes.
Yeah.
I feel like maybe you let her know. You drop it in.
I think I will, but I just am like trying not to meddle in a weird way, right?
Well,
but like,
it seems like nice meddling. I don't know. Both are interested. I love if two people are interested in each other, there's nothing as nice as someone facilitating it for them.
Yeah, in a respectful, like hands off way.
Yeah,
too.
no, like here's where your date's gonna be. You're gonna kiss her just like this. Let me show you. like no. I mean, like you just kind of like lay the groundwork. Just like, hey, just to let you know, they're kind of into a more this kind of approach. That's it. Or invite them both to the same party, and then But
boom. I think like the reason I'm bringing this up is because like I think women are used to being socialized to be pursued instead of being the pursuer. But I would say, and you can speak to this too, like as a guy in like a heterosexual relationship, I'm assuming you would have loved for a girl to come up to you and be like, hey, can I like buy you a drink? Or like, would you like to go on a date with me? Like, I don't think it has to be so gendered is my point. Like you can pursue, and that's like something that maybe you're just not used to doing because you haven't had to with men before.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I'm always very I think it's so sweet when I'm pursued. When somebody like approaches me, like when I got Dewey and he was just a puppy.
The damn dog again. How is he coming up in this?
I was at a patio with Hersey and Nate, and we were sitting there having a couple beers during the day, and I had this like little puppy. Right? And I'm
oh my God. I literally thought you were about to be like when I met Dewey and he came up to me and pursued me. I was like, you are ill.
No. Hey, I'm not. Well, I am, but this is different. Okay. I'm being a good dog dad. I'm teaching him little tricks. Like we're at the picnic table. I'm drinking a beer. It's the middle of the day. Like we're so chill, so relaxed. Mm-hmm. This girl comes over from like the other end of the patio to come chat with me and talk about the dog. And then is like, hey, I just wanted to ask, are you Signal? And I was like, oh, I'm actually married, but like I really appreciate you even just like bringing it up. That's very like brave of you to do. And it was like a lovely interaction, but I thought that was such a nice moment. Like even just having someone just ask me something like that straightforward. I was like, oh, I know what you want. That's lovely.
I bet you were on cloud nine all week.
Oh, I was like, oh my God, Alana, let me tell you this story. Just immediately. Yeah, no, I think it's lovely.
She punches a wall.
As if. And I was like, oh, good for you. She could care less. But I've been in lots of friendships with lesbians specifically, not bisexual people. And I noticed that the lesbian community is much more straightforward. Like they're very like, they're all like, there's a lot of relationships happening, a lot of like non-judgment about like dating exes and stuff. And maybe it's just because it's a smaller community and stuff.
Like their other
it's like,
friends.
You could totally date my ex, go for it. Like that kind of like, there was a lot of overlap and it was very chill. And I noticed that it was much more straightforward, much more like fun posturing. Like I'm just going to make out with you at the bar kind of stuff going on. Very fun group. More with bisexuals, and this I hate just being like, this is what these people are like, and this is what these people are like. But you're totally right that there is sort of like because of the socialized element of being like, oh, I've mostly been with men, but I'm curious about women. Being curious is nice, but being pursuant of is a very different thing. Like you're right, it takes a lot of bravery to put yourself out there in order to be rejected. That's the fear.
Of course.
You might get rejected. And you know what? It's okay to get rejected.
Yeah.
You'll live.
You will. And it does suck. Being rejected sucks, but it's also fine.
Yeah. And as long as you're not being like a weirdo about how you're going, and I know you're going to think you're being a weirdo regardless, but as long as you're pursuing in a nice, respectful way, like you'll feel good about it, even if you are rejected, if it's a cool person, if it's a chill person. Like I think that's how I feel. Have you ever pursued a guy and been rejected?
Pursued a guy. I mean, this
you ever even pursued a guy?
Well, what do you mean? What?
Have you ever asked a guy out?
No.
Whoa.
But I've definitely like sent out signals, which is the same thing.
You're just like, just picturing you echolocating. Michelle. And they're like, she's ready.
Ew.
She wants me.
Oh, God.
Sorry.
Yeah. That was so... For some reason, I'm imagining like what I'm wearing and like my body position, and I don't like what I'm imagining.
Me neither. Me neither.
In my imagination, I'm in like some kind of squat.
Yeah, that's what I picture too. A deep open squat, like a lunging deep squat, and your hands are flat. You're wearing like silver for some reason. Like
and dish. I've got like a really long braid of hair.
That's nice.
Yeah. And it's just like my pheromones are just
pheromones. Like, your scent. You're putting your scent out there.
I'm putting my scent out there.
You're out at the bar, just like stinking up the place. Sometimes, oh my God, but that's true. When you go to a bar and there's a bunch of 21-year-olds, it stinks. You can smell the pheromones. Like people are out there just sweating.
And the excessive perfume as well.
Probably it, yeah.
That's like a part of it. A lot of sprays. Yeah, I mean, like, yes, I didn't pursue Connor. Connor definitely, like, I guess was more...
He's a pretty sweet, chill guy. It's also hard to imagine him pursuing you. It seems like you guys like shuffled up next to each other. And you're like, hey.
Yeah, we actually got set up through friends.
That's how you gotta do it.
Yeah. And that was nice. And that was like a nice organic and like great vetting process for the both of us. And then we met like in a group setting and stuff. But he was definitely the one who made it clear he had interest in me first.
Once you were set up through friends, it was like, he was like, okay, I'm going to shoot my shot.
Well, yeah. And also like they were the ones who were like, Connor's kind of interested in you. Like he put it out to them, I hope he's okay with me saying that. But
come on. Look what worked out. And to me, this is the last however many relationships I've heard about working out have been this kind of set up through friends thing. Getting vetted, so important.
It's really nice, yeah. It just like takes away some stress. But my point is, but if like we were out in this like group setting and I knew that he was interested and then I was interested too, it's also on me to like pursue him as well as far as like encouraging our like interactions to continue. Yeah.
Girl, get out there and flirt.
Yeah, go flirt.
Get some flirt going.
And know that it's not that dissimilar. It's just women have been socialized to be like cat and mouse. And that's like not...
bullshit.
And you don't have to be like super aggressive or forward, but you can let somebody know how you feel and that's like not going to turn somebody off. And if they're not interested in you, then you didn't do anything wrong, you know?
No. Flirt with more people. Just get out there. Like, don't even... And any chance you can get a flirt in. Flirt with your barista. Flirt with...
barista?
Hey!
Get out there and
flirt. How do you eat? Have fun. Get out there and do it.
Yeah, have fun. Have fun.
Yeah, it's not so serious. Dating is fun.
You're also so young and like you're not going to run out of time at 22. Like you're fine. No. But I understand too wanting to like wanting to explore that part of your identity. So do that. I think that's going to be great.
Go to some bars that have that as the focus. Like, you know what I mean? Like there are we used to call it I don't know if this is appropriate, but this is what they all called it. They all called it the hen bar. I
knew you were going to say hen, and I have no frame of reference. I don't know why.
Because there used to be a bar in Toronto called Hen Bar, I think, that we used to go to all the time.
Yeah.
The fact that I'm like, we used to, I think, maybe, I'm like, we definitely did.
We did. That was our spot.
But it was a lesbian bar, and it was very obvious if you went there, but I don't think it exists anymore. Now it's like a tattoo shop, which is a bummer. And it's not the same, like, a lesbian bar isn't the same as like an all-encompassing queer bar or like a gay bar. Like it's all different communities, right?
Yeah.
So maybe get involved in a community that is more I'm sure there's like a bisexual community out there in your area that's like very out and proud and willing to explore and chat and just like have conversations about this. Mm-hmm.
Also, I know like dating apps now have lots of different where it's like you can get both guys and girls or whoever. So there's something for everyone. And that's like obviously like a great way to be like, I'm looking to date you. That's why I'm here.
Yeah. Gender's a construct. Date whoever you want. You're going to have fun.
Date whoever you want.
Get out there and have fun.
Yeah. Go have fun.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think that's like our time.
That was our time. It's an amazing episode. I'm so glad we did it.
Me too. I hope that this whole video is uploaded. I mean, we've been trying to like work on it. It's a process, right? Like we're learning as we go, but we're hoping to just continue with this video podcast format because it's what you guys want, I guess.
It's what you guys want. And
so
this is the best we can do for now until we get involved with some sort of mega conglomerate that comes and ruins the podcast and stops us from being able to talk about really cool stuff.
Yeah.
Like guns and what else do we talk about that
sex
was wrong?
parties.
Sex parties and Hollywood.
And gender. We're not going to be allowed to talk about gender.
It's all going to be over after this. So you better enjoy these. These are the loose days of spare parts.
Yeah. This is like before we've been bought out.
Yeah, before we go big. Oh my God, we're gonna get owned by like Monsanto, and then
but when we do, we're gonna look great because we're gonna have beautiful lighting. We're gonna be in like a backdrop that's like a velvet sage green couch with like a pink wall.
We're gonna be in the same room. My skin's gonna be amazing. I'm gonna be wearing Relative Skin on all day, just creamy, gooey.
Yes. Oh wait, that actually reminds me.
Oh, did I remind you of something?
So everybody, I don't know if you're aware, but I have a skincare company called Relative Skin. We've got some really exciting things coming up, including a couple new products. One in particular launching sooner rather than later, so keep an eye for that. RelativeSkin.com. We have 3 products.
Without an E at the end. It's relative with no E.
Correct.
Just clarifying.
No, thank you.
People don't know that.
Yeah. And go to my Instagram. It's in my link tree or whatever as well. But first time purchasers, you always get 20% off, and it's free shipping on orders over 100. Now, I know that there's tariffs and things going on, and this is a Canadian company. So if you're in Canada, this bodes well for you.
Which 6% of our listeners are.
Exactly. But if you're in the States, our dollar is quite a bit lower than yours. So even with the 25% tariff, you're looking at quite a discount. So support local businesses. Check out relativeskin.com and Relative Skin on Instagram for more details. I've been using these products exclusively for 2 years. And
look at her freaking face.
I love them. Thank you.
You glow. Yeah.
And
Megan Foxworthy.
Okay. And we're a small company, so we only create batches of 200, and we just got a new batch in. So we were all sold out, and now we're back. So head over to relativeskin.com.
Get it while it's fresh, because it'll be gone, and then you'll have to wait until another batch is cooked up. And it's just Michelle in a room just mixing with a fucking ladle. So you gotta hurry up and get it while you can.
It really isn't. It's made by in a lab by a proper formulator.
I've seen the bright tanks. It's fine. It's very technical.
Very sterile. But yeah, check that out. It'd mean the world.
And thank you for listening. Please send your questions, sparepartspod@gmail.com. We need them. We need more fun, spicy, kinky, weird, boss, relationship, anything you can think of. Career advice. Michelle and I have the best careers in the world. Ask us career advice.
Right. We know everything about careers.
She's the smartest person I know.
Evan.
That's what you're supposed to say. He's the smartest
person. You work really hard to get into things, and I'm so proud of you.
And that's our time.
Love you.
Love you.
Bye.